First Coast's most accurate forecast from the First Coast News Weather Team, certified by Weather Rate, sponsored by AC Designs.
Is it Friday yet, Lou?
Almost.
Tuesday?
One day closer.
Almost Friday.
One day closer.
Closer than we were at this time yesterday.
That's a great point. Happy Tuesday.
Yeah, happy Tuesday to you as well. Pretty rainy, stormy one, especially for folks across more of our southern counties.
I know.
Exactly what we expected, though,
Yeah.
right? But,
Yep.
Pretty soupy day for a lot of folks out there.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. We got Ross, we got Lew, a couple of meteorologists here at First Coast News.
I love when you talk about yourself in third person.
Yeah.
Yes.
We got to
Pump for that.
gotta get them right. Get them. Hey, listen.
Line them up and knock them down, Lou.
Just make sure you say my name, spell it right. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. So we have been watching our area of low pressure. Very interesting this morning on Good Morning Jacksonville. So you look at it very clearly on the Melbourne radar. You had a very good circulation happening. You had that low, and I just wondered, are we going to get the depression? And really, it had all the look of a good depression. Just Hurricane Center did not go with it. Still calling it the tropical wave. The Invest 93 kind of got moved on shore maybe a little too quickly for it to maybe get up to that level for them. But still kind of in that realm of development. Obviously not much going to happen while it's sitting right over the state of Florida. But will tonight get out into those Gulf waters. But in the meantime, ahead of that, I just had a buddy text. Why is this feeling so tropical out there? I was like, well, you need to pick a better weatherman. Come on, watch your friend on TV every once in a while. Come on, watch my guy Ross and Lee and Robert. For heaven's sakes, we've been talking about it. It's tropical because we've got a bunch of that moisture kind of moving on shore and good breezes too, Ross.
Yeah, it has been a little bit breezy out there. I know when I took my dog for our afternoon walk before I got ready and came to work, actually felt pretty nice out there.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, it's humid. It was muggy. There was some light rain falling on us from one side of the pond to the other that we walked around. But temperatures were in the mid to upper 80s. And yeah, nice little breeze, as you said. Sustained winds generally between about 10 to 20. We've seen some wind gusts, 25, 28. I don't think I've seen any wind gusts over 30 at the airport, at least. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if you've looked anywhere else. But yeah, it's been a pretty just kind of soupy, breezy day out there. National Hurricane Center didn't really update much from this morning's update or outlook at 8 a.m. So still a 40% chance of tropical development over the next 48 hours or next 2 days, and also a 40% chance over the next 7 days. So for the time being, I expect the status quo to pretty much stay the same as this low pressure system circulates and swirls its way over Florida. And then as it moves into the northern Gulf, then we'll see. Will depression form? I think at a minimum, probably. Further than that, do we get tropical storm?
It just depends on the track. I mean,
is it possible? Yes. Am I locked into that? No. Do I think a hurricane is likely? No.
Right.
I don't think, I would pretty much stamp that at this point that that's not going to happen for anyone along the northern Gulf, at least with regards to this storm.
Yeah.
But it has brought in that more northerly track. We talked about that yesterday. Our in-house model was showing this, where where some of the others took it a little bit closer to Orlando. I mean, this is actually pretty much right over like southern St. Johns County.
Yeah.
Hastings to St. Augustine.
Yep. And so, with a system like this that's so broad and not, the classic, tropical storms, so to speak, it's just lopsided. So we're on that side that's getting a little more dry air. If you were driving down towards Marion County, Alachua County, you were just getting, you're getting it, down that deep down that 75 corridor. I was looking at those winds, and St. Augustine had a 28. Gust, so nothing to 30.
And that's exactly, lockstep with what we said yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Wind gusts upwards of 30 out at the beaches.
Yep.
And, all the wind gusts that we've seen so far today are just below that.
I'm trying to look at some sites like within the, who would have the, and none of your wind barbs are really showing anything too impressive, even closer to the center. So, yeah, as far as winds go, I think St. Augustine's kind of your moneymaker with that 28-mile-an-hour gust, kind of the strongest. And then with that, with those winds, of course, you get the onshore flow, you get the overcast. It's helping with the temperatures. Yeah, as Ross was saying, kind of a pretty pleasant day. Now, with that spin, with that rain, you can see are we at the flood warning level here, or are we at the advisory level?
Well, so yeah, we have flood watches, and then flood advisories for a few locations. I think I do have those in here. Yeah, I knew I had the winds as well. So here's current winds. Look at the wind gusts. 28 at Brunswick, 26 at St. Simon's Island up there. Yeah, 25 in St. Augustine. So certainly breezy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily call it gusty
yet. Not yet. But
and it may not even reach that point. I mean, we're getting into the afternoon now. You would think our strongest winds should pretty much be occurring between now up until maybe 7 o'clock. So,
and with that northeast breeze, east-northeast, by the time this thing kind of gets a little bit further to our west, we're going to notice that wind shift. And then that's going to be a story of our kind of storm makers as we get into Wednesday and Thursday. The wind's a little more out of the south, and then you get more of that Gulf moisture trying to get in. But watching some of our areas seeing the heaviest rain, so a drive down 75, you're going to be bumping and grinding a little bit through Gainesville down towards Ocala. Mentioned Marion County.
Yeah, the Ocala horse fields, man, they're going to be soaked with water.
So bright green. I mean, you're talking like take a picture of like Irish fields out there. Absolutely gorgeous. But I was thinking, I'm thinking about with our weather impact alert for the rest of the day, just thinking about commute times. None of the rain that we've had today would have been anything that, oh man, we got to stop soccer practice, or we got to get the kids out of the pool. It's just been kind of a nuisance. We've had a couple of downpours here through downtown, but quick, and that's the benefit of having those winds at 25, gusting to 28 at St. Augustine to 30-ish. It pushes these things right along. And where we got here, Ross?
Gainesville.
Gville, Hogtown. All right.
The swamp.
Yeah.
Nice band working through there. Some pretty heavy rain, so thought I'd work that in a little bit. You can see a bit of that rain shield or rain shaft off in the distance there over old swampland.
Yeah.
Actually, Toby's old stomping grounds here.
Is that right?
Shout out Toby.
Toby on the ones and twos. We got a lot of those around here. We got Lee on the weather team, good gator. I got a lot of gators around. So, talk about those flood alerts, Ross. So we got flood advisory kind of highlighted there for Marion County, and mentioning that 75 corridor if you had to make that trip through Ocala. It's not ideal.
Yeah, if you're taking a trip down to Tampa tonight, probably not the best night to do it, because the flood watch extends all the way down to Tampa, all through Orlando and Central Florida. The I-4 corridor, all included in that flood watch. And I believe, at least for our counties, it goes until 8 o'clock. For Putnam and Flagler counties, that flood watch goes until 8.
And that makes sense. As things go a bit further west, move right along. That's just because of that persistent potential for downpours. And like we said, southern counties. So we're talking about southern St. John's and then into Putnam and Flagler, kind of seeing in the worst of it. But for the rest of our sort of day and for the rest of our evening, off and on these bands, quick showers. I just watched the potential for your evening commute. If you're getting out on 95 or 10, you might run into a pocket. But kind of the headline, and you're just like, it's a little different. There's a little something different about this afternoon as opposed to others. And looking at Futurecast modeling, I like how our in-house has performed. So so far with this, so I'm going to kind of lean. This is graph, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So graph would be our terminology for what would be our in-house computer modeling. Perform well with how it's come on shore. So why not kind of good information in, good information out? Why not kind of go to the bank with what we're seeing here, Ross?
Yeah, I mean, it has generally taken it fairly close to the northern Gulf Coast for the most part. Still keeps it relatively disorganized. I mean, yes, it still has the overall counterclockwise circulation and swirl there. Perhaps, a little bit tighter or somewhat more organized as it heads towards the southern coast of Louisiana by Thursday afternoon and evening, and then eventually continues to move onshore. So still some heavy rain for a lot of folks across the entire stretch of the northern Gulf. So I would say pretty much from Houston all the way to Panama City, you're going to be talking about potentially, a couple inches of rain here over the next 48 hours or so. And here's what some of the forecast spaghetti models also, showing in contrast to what our in-house graph model has output. Not a whole lot of difference there. I mean, the key, I think, for us locally, right, is they're all going to take it west and away from the first coast, right? So, yes, there's going to be some variation and some, divergence on the exact track west. But either way you see it, it's still heading west away from us. We're going to have impacts today from it or through the rest of tonight. The tropical moisture will still be in place tomorrow. But after that, then we're, pretty much back to our normal pattern. You talked about the wind change as well. Then
I love that you brought that up. So I was thinking about this on Good Morning Jacksonville for somebody, obviously as the meteorologists here, we're so keyed in on track and path and modeling. But, if you're at home casually watching and you're not able to tune in each and every day and all the time, that's fine too. But, you see that there's a potential tropical depression or a system going over the state of Florida, going to emerge potentially strengthening over the Gulf. And that thought, oh my gosh, it gets to the Gulf, is it going to come back towards the state of Florida? So I want that out of your mind. Everything is very consistent. And then, you look at some of the hurricane-specific modeling, like the HWRF or the HMON that you can see within spaghetti modeling. I was looking kind of at that, and it's those even are keeping this thing pretty disorganized. So that chance of hurricane, as Russ
below
mentioned,
tropical storm level?
Yeah, even below tropical. I wasn't seeing
even
tropical storm level strength with those two.
When I see the HRF, so that's the HWRF, if you look right under the T in forecast, the end of that model run is right up in northern Alabama, southern Tennessee. So it looks like that's the yellow line.
Yes.
That keeps it pretty much on shore for the most part. So, that's greatly going to limit, any chance of further tropical development.
Yeah, if you don't want to see development, if you got interests along the I-10, interchange or corridor through Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana and Texas, and you got family and loved ones that way, or you had a trip planned, obviously you don't want to see massive development. So the closer to shore, the much better we're going to be. And sea surface temperatures tell one kind of page of the story. Certainly the water is warm enough close to shore. And we've seen these systems before that, develop, 70, 80 miles offshore, quickly bomb out, and we'll get to hurricane strength. It's just things don't look as favorable for that type of setup for this.
Yeah. No, I don't think that is going to be happening in this case or scenario, which is good news for everyone. There's actually going to be a little bit more wind shear. Mm-hmm. So it's not a lot, but this has increased just a hair compared, or in contrast, I should say, to, perhaps what we saw at this time yesterday.
For sure.
But, those upper level winds still just reiterating, the storm will be moving away. So here's another way to look at it. Tropical moisture flow, we got plenty of that overhead of us right now. Throughout tomorrow, still going to be in place, but by Thursday and Friday, that deepest concentration of moisture and heavily rain-laden air, that moves off over towards Mississippi, Louisiana, and then we'll watch to see how much drier air is advected in, more so in the mid-levels, Lou. But you and I talked before, we're thinking Thursday and Friday still look pretty stormy, and I do have an outlook to the weekend then with regards to this as well coming up in a little. But I think
the story kind of changes. The story changes from the scattered and numerous thunderstorms as we get to a weekend, and I won't spoil the surprise, but it becomes less about the rain and other stories. So 70% coverage for us on a Wednesday, primarily kind of those similar areas, 95 corridor. Southern counties out I-10, so 95 and 10 again, and Ross and I were speaking, just kind of weather impact alert, so we there's criteria we'd like to hit, 70% coverage of showers, 70% of us out there are going to experience some rain, some impactful sort of weather, and then timing matters too. So, you get it in the midday, especially on, you're outside the weekend, you're on a Wednesday, it's midweek. Most of us are at the office or at work, unless you're working outside, you're not really impacted by a midday shower or thunderstorm unless things go severe. But during those commute times, and actually some of the modeling suggesting maybe a little bit later in the day as we get through a hump day, Wednesday, one day closer to a Friday, Ross. So going through Wednesday, Maybe a couple early morning coastal showers. Wouldn't be totally surprised if in the morning, on Good Morning Jacksonville, we're talking about something that's kind of streaming close to St. Augustine beaches. But kind of looking ahead to our afternoon and into the evening, getting to that 5, 6, 7 o'clock time frame. Notice the orientation. Things now coming out of the south as opposed to from the east and from the northeast. And there's your 7 o'clock. So you can't take this necessarily to the bank and say, oh, well, at 7 p.m., Western St. John's and the border of Clay and Putnam going to be getting storms. But you can kind of pick up on patterns. And if things are coming and streaming out of the south, this orientation, certainly likely that right along 95 and 10, during that drive time, we could see some storms. So we want to be watching out for that and prepared for that for our weather impact alert, Ross.
Yeah, and then as you transition from a Wednesday to Thursday, still going to be very humid. Real field temperatures still up above 100, 103, 105 even. But we're dropping our overall rain coverage, at least for the time being. I think once we get closer to Thursday and even Friday as well, we're still going to have plenty of moisture, not only at the surface, but in the mid-levels. So we're keeping it at 60%, storm coverage, I think, for the time being, right? But as, the forecast is always fluid.
Fluid.
It's a fluid process.
So just like that soupy fluid we're going to be feeling come Friday and
you a big soup guy?
The weekend. Oh my God, huge soup guy.
Really?
Huge soup guy.
What kind of soup you going for?
I'm
not talking like, oh, I'm sick and I want some soup to feel better. No, I'm like,
I have been developing and working on French onion soup recipe.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
with some like Swiss cheese on top. Is that what they typically put?
I'm more of a provolone.
Oh, okay. Is that what they do? So,
I don't know if that's what the chefs at the house are probably like. Lewis, you psychopath, provolone, really? I don't know. I just like that. It's a little smokier for me. No, big. I love soup. And I'll do a hot soup in the summertime. I have a friend who is such a soup psychopath that he'll go to a restaurant and instead of ordering an appetizer, a main, and a dessert like a normal human being, he'll just order. He's like, just bring me all your soups. So there might be 4 soups, 5 soups on the menu, and especially he's like, I'm not having an entree, so to speak, but my meal at this dinner is going to be all of your soups. I'd like to try them and just bring them out. Guys, I'm like,
that's a lot of broth.
That's a lot of broth. That's going to sit a little awkwardly. But I admire people who think outside the box.
Hey.
You know what I mean? That's like, really? Okay. And that always gets the eyebrows.
And no matter what, like he'll try all the different types of soup.
Oh yeah, he's a foodie, so
okay.
This guy famously did that with the soup, but he'll be normal too at restaurants. But I heard this story. I'm like, oh my God, that's kind of amazing.
That is so funny.
Kind of aspirational, but also scary.
I would never be able to be that guy.
No. You big soup guy? You asked me.
Well, so I like tomato soup and grilled cheese.
Of
big
course.
Staple. Love that. Could probably eat that once a week. Love tomato soup.
Yep.
Have you ever had chicken corn soup? Or turkey corn soup? So apparently this is more of a northern thing, which I wasn't aware of.
Okay.
But essentially it's just like, if you ever have canned corn.
Sure.
Have you ever done that, right?
Yeah, of course.
So it's just that. I think like some carrots, some celery.
Yeah. You getting your veggies?
Yeah.
Veggies, protein, a little broth.
And then, we would either just get like a roast chicken or our turkey.
Yeah.
Like Thanksgiving dinner, right?
It's freaking awesome.
If you don't want to eat the turkey leftovers for like days on end.
Yeah.
If you got like a big turkey, 20-pounder, 25-pounder.
Sure.
God,
we're gonna get off track.
We then use that to make like turkey corn soup. You like
yes.
You make a big stew of it. Put it in the deep freeze and save it for like a day later on in the winter. It's great, man.
My mother-in-law's from up north and from Western New York, so a different up north. Culturally, we get when you're talking Rust Belt and Great Lakes versus on the Philly side of things. We still have cultural differences, but she's from up there, and so it's cold. So she's big soup. When she comes and visits, there's something she makes, and I don't know the name of it. It just shout out mother-in-law because she'll make enough to where we're putting it in the freezer, and I'm eating on that for 3 weeks.
See, that's how you know Lou's a good son-in-law, when he's shouting out his mother-in-law.
Shouting out mom-in-law. She's a great cook. You know what I mean? On certain things, and then others maybe not.
Oh.
And I'll call her out there, too.
Okay.
Hopefully she watches the stream.
Keeping her humble. I love it.
That's right. And father-in-law doesn't come after me for that.
Yeah.
But
I don't know what graphic is next on the
Pull it up and let's spin the wheel.
Oh, there we go. Look at that.
Spin the wheel. All right, our rain chances. So,
so we kind of talked about Thursday and
weather.
Friday.
We want it to be soup weather. We want it to cool down. It's not happening. We got we do have a weekend to look forward to, though, Ross, and I'm kind of pumped up about at least the rain chance part of that.
Yeah, I think we'll still have some isolated showers and, rumbles of thunder out there. But overall, with regards to coverage, I think our rain and storm coverage comes down a little bit. So I'm putting us at 40% for both your Saturday and your Sunday. Slightly drier air moving in. Our wind direction is going to change a hair. We're also going to have some higher pressure overhead. So I think those things combined just going to help to lower things just a bit. Key story, though, as you head into the weekend, we talked about, some of the temperatures. We're going to be up 95 on Saturday, 96 on Sunday, and you factor in the humidity, quite high. Still, soupy, so to speak. It's going to feel awful.
Not the day for the hot French onion soup.
Absolutely,
I'm kind of craving, but
you want a cold sub. And a nice cold soda and or pop if you are from the Rust Belt or somewhere.
A gazpacho, maybe. Oh, a pop. Now we're gonna go off.
See, it's soda for me. I'm not a pop guy.
Oh, you are. Okay, good. Yeah. That's more reasonable.
Or
to the pop people out there, I gotta understand your thoughts.
Do you know what a gob is?
I have no idea.
Do you know what a whoopie pie is?
No. Oh. I think I've heard that term before.
It's like two cake pieces.
Okay.
And then there's cream on the inside.
Okay, I've heard the term.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
is that a Pennsylvania thing? Or?
Yeah, east side of Pennsylvania calls them whoopie pies, but if you get out towards Pittsburgh and the Rust Belt and the Great Lakes, they call them gobs.
Gobs. Don't they have a special name for sandwich, just sub sandwiches up there?
Well, Toby could probably chirp in. So I call it hoagies.
Hoagies. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a hoagie.
Yeah, Wawa people, it's Hoagie Fest right now, right?
Hoagie Fest, yeah.
Yeah, so you got hoagies, and then I'm not sure what they call them, maybe just subs.
Yeah. Okay, there's a place in Pittsburgh I've been wanting to go. My pastor, who are familiar with, moved up there, and he's these sandwiches he's sending me. I'm like, oh my God, I got to go to Pittsburgh and try this.
Well, because they'll put
they put everything in it. French fries.
Fries and coleslaw. Yeah, like Permane Brothers and stuff.
Yes. And I was told that was like a big truck driving town and community. So they started that. Truck drivers, you'd stop, you get a sub, but you want a side of fries, but it's hard to eat a side of fries as you're long haul driving. So they were like, we'll just put all the sides in the sub as well. So I'm driving. I'm still probably not the safest thing if you're hauling an 18-wheeler, but nonetheless, getting it all over the place, all over your coveralls.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was sort of the genesis of fries in the sub.
So a big truck, like a trucking area.
Wow. Yeah.
Huh. I guess
because what do you have?
Interstate 80 goes out through there, maybe.
Yeah, and then you've got getting out of the Great Lakes, so you got a big shipping
channels. Of course, it's
there.
known for there's the steel mills and stuff from back in the day.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, I was told by somebody. Maybe it was him. Maybe it was my pastor. But anyhow, back to those temperatures for a second. So Ross showed the heat index trend. 108's a magic number around these parts. You get up and over that, we start thinking about weather impact alerts because of heat, and then National Weather Service Office starts thinking about issuing heat advisories because of the danger that 108 to 112 and beyond can provide. So we're going to have that on kind of the back of our minds, front of our minds, thinking about those who may be extra sensitive to those temperatures come Saturday and Sunday.
And the key there really is going to be, what are the dew points at?
Yeah.
Because 94 to 96, it's going to be hot either way, right? But if you have a dew point at 76 or 77, that's going to make a big difference compared to if it's at 74.
Yeah, and don't let that, sometimes those 92, 93 degree temperatures sneak up on you. That, because so you get those extreme high, like 96, 97, sometimes that will restrict what the dew point can do. I mean, the atmosphere can only handle so much.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So only so much, your high temperatures can only go so high with your dew point. Right? So you start seeing a 93, 94 and that, mid 70s, high 70s dew point, and now you're absolutely sauteing out there. So that's the thing we're going to be watching carefully. That Sunday 96 seems very, very probable. In fact, with modeling showing mid and upper 90s.